Well, here's where we're at. It's come to this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this motor. Um, there's a few things that are wrong with it. Still, it's burning oil in 1, 2, and 3. I don't know why. Uh, I suspect it has to do with the work that was done to the head since it wasn't doing it before that, but I'm not positive. Um, the compression's too high. We're looking at about 210 psi. It's just too dang high, which would mean I'd probably need to swap the cam, which if I'm going to do that, I'm going to pull it. So the what I've decided to do, which is a little unusual for me, um, a lot of the folks that are familiar with these motors know who Jeff Jones is, Vintage Engine Works. Um, I'm going to have Jeff build me a motor. I'm having him build me a motor, actually. Um, Not something I normally do, but my local machinist is not working right now, and I don't have a local machine shop. And Jeff's only about 3 hours away, and it just makes sense to have him do it. I've never built one of these before, so there's certain clearance checks and tolerances that I'm just not familiar with these. Give me a small block and I'll do it blindfolded, but not not with these. It just makes more sense to have Jeff do it. He's doing a long block though, which means it's going to be pretty much stripped down as you see it, except I've got to pull my cover, balancer, pan. I haven't asked him yet. I'm not positive if he's given me a oil pump or not, but either way, we'll get a new oil pump for it because it's just worth always replacing those. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and pluck it out of here. It's just about ready to go. All the hardware's out. It's literally got one bolt holding it to the trans right now. That's it. Pretty easy motor to pull. I get the cherry picker ready to go. It's just I'm not going to pull it until I'm ready. Um, so originally, what Jeff and I were going to do with this, and he and I have talked extensively about it. And originally what I was going to do is just build another completely stock motor. But Jeff always goes to the large log head. This is a small log. If you guys don't know how to tell the difference between the two, there is an obvious difference. If you look at them, the large log has bigger ports and it's more flat on top. It's larger. It looks more like a block or rectangle than round. He automatically goes to that head. He just said, look, it's a better head. He doesn't do the small log heads really. And so originally what we were going to do was get an adapter because the port's a little different on the large log head. We were going to get an adapter that he's actually got them where I can put the Sniper 1100 on there. That's originally what I was going to do. We were going to put a 250 cam in it, a stock cam from a 250 engine, not 250 degrees duration. Don't confuse that. And he said it would run real well like that. I couldn't sleep one night, and I was just thinking and thinking and thinking about this. I said, I'm going through all this trouble to have Jeff build me a motor, and I'm going to I'm not going to do the single best upgrade that you can do to one of these. The single best upgrade you can do to one of these is make it a 2V, 2 Venturi, or 2 barrel, if you will. So I talked to Jeff the next day, and really what I had to come to terms with was, hey, I got to buy another fuel injection unit. But since I've got the Sniper 1100, it's in high demand right now. Holly is just not getting them out the door. So I guarantee I'm not going to have any trouble selling it. So I will be selling the Sniper 1100. I already had one person ask me they want to buy it. I almost feel like I'd be doing an injustice if I didn't sell it to the person that's been waiting the longest. Now, I don't know who that is. So look, I'm probably going to post up for sale, but there's some things I got to figure out first. I think I can use all the original harness from the 1100 that I've gotten here because I think the snipers are all the same. I'm almost positive of that. I just want to verify things before I do that. And if that's the case, I will be selling the 1100 with the brand new harness and everything from the 2300 unit that I just ordered. I need to sell it because I need the money to pay for the 2300. So we will be doing that. But the way that this is going to work is Jeff's going to get the motor built for me. I'm pulling this out. I'm going to get it plucked out of here. I'm going to throw it up on the stand and strip it, the pan and the timing cover and stuff, and then throw it in the back of the truck. And I'm going to drive up. I'm going to pick a day during the week. I'm going to take a day off and take it up to Jeff. and we're literally just going to play trade, plus some decent amount of coin. Jeff Jones knows what he's talking about, and I don't really know the guy, but I've talked to him a few times on the phone now, and I've been in this for a long time. He's sharp. He's sharp. I do believe that his reputation stands. I've heard a lot about his reputation from a lot of folks, and I do believe the man really knows what he's talking about. And after talking to him, he knew some stuff. I was like, yeah, I've got that in the back of my head, and I know those things. I'm kind of surprised that you know that. He actually knows quite a bit about Chevys, which was an interesting conversation because I've been building Chevys for a long time. This is my first Ford, which is why I'm a little hesitant on it. I could absolutely build this motor, I'm sure. I'm just tired of working on it. That's the only reason that I'm having Jeff do it. Because I've done that before. I've built motors, I've flattened cams, pull it back out. I've had the head off of this thing twice. I'm worn out on it. I just want to throw a motor in here and not worry about it. So that's why I'm having Jeff do it. So anyways, that's just the update for this week. I don't know exactly when he's going to be done with the motor. He's got to make a head for it still. That's quite a process. It takes him a whole day to do a head, to do the brazing that accompanies, opening it up to a 2-barrel and the brazing and the plate and everything. It takes him at least a day to do that. And it was an additional charge to have him do it, obviously. But look, I'm doing this right. I'm doing it right. It's gonna live the way it is. And because he's doing that, we're putting a Claysmith cam in here. It's right around 200. I think it is 214 degrees at 50, which is gonna be just perfect. It's gonna, with the 1.5 ratio rockers, it'll lift right in the 430 range, I think. So it's not huge. It's a very small cam. You're barely gonna hear it. But it's just going to improve this thing so much. It's going to run so much better. It's something interesting that Jeff mentioned that I hadn't even thought about was he said, these engines, the reason that the log sucks with the single Venturi is because of the firing order. And I thought about it for a second. I went, oh shit, he's right. The firing order is 153624, right? 1536 2, 4, which is 4 is right here. What's happening when you're doing that firing order? It's shifting the flow of the manifold back and forth from one side of the Venturi to the other. That's a big problem because you're not getting a constant flow. The velocity keeps changing. That's why these things idle like shit, is because of that. When you get 2 Venturis, that you don't end up with that problem. You get 3 feeding off one and 3 feeding off the other. That helps a ton. It just improves the quality of how these things run. They run real decent when they can actually breathe. And I've said this before, this head it's not even a bad design. It's a joke. The fact that it's cast in here like this is another bad thing, but it's not so bad when you open them up to a 2-barrel. So, totally not what I intended to do with this car. I just wanted to keep it 100% stock, but the head, I'm sure, is junk. That's the other thing. It started seeping again, I believe. It was not near what it was doing before, but I started seeing it get wet looking right here and some discoloration. What's happening is the head's just had so much taken off of it. The cylinder head deck is too thin. Now, I'm told you can go 100 thousandths. You can take 100 thousandths off. It's possible it's had that much taken off of it because of the shorter push rods. It does have 60 thousandths shorter push rods in it. It did. It won't anymore. The new one won't. What happens is you surface it, you get it flat, but just normal temperature cycling, it's just too thin and it starts to lift. And the way that you can tell is I put a straight edge across the rocker bosses and it rocks back and forth. There's probably 30 thousandths of difference, 30 thousandths difference, which is a lot. So the head's just a banana. It's no good. The head's going to have to get thrown out. It's too bad because it's got hardened seats and all the new shit in it, but that's just the way that it rolls. So anyways, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to, I got to adapt the throttle. I'm putting a V8 pedal in it, throttle cable. The reason I'm going with V8 pedal is because the kickdown linkage will work the way that it is. I'm not going to have to put a kickdown cable in it, so I'm just going to have to adapt the throttle cable in here. I ordered just a low car regular throttle cable, actually the same one I think I've got in my truck. It's just a universal, and I'm going to have to build a bracket. You can't use a standard carb mount ones because the valve cover and everything, the angle's wrong. So I'll probably have to attach one bracket to the valve cover, and it would be nice to put something on the side of the block, but there's no holes. These blocks are real shy on holes anywhere for hardware. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But the V8 pedal will come up. It comes up right here and pulls that direction. So I'll have to have some kind of a bracket for it. So I'll figure all that out. There's just gonna be a little bit of fab work, but nothing serious. So that's what you have to do to use the 2300. Unfortunately, there's no drop-in replacement for the throttle linkage. You can use the 6-cylinder linkage, but you kind of have to heavily modify the 2300 linkage to have the crank on the other side of the shaft for the throttle body. Fuel system doesn't change. It keeps the same pump. It's the same pressure. None of that changes. I'm gonna have to reroute this line. I'm gonna have to. I've got more vapor guard. I'm gonna have to bring it around to the other side because it feeds over there instead of over here. I could probably find a way to adapt it that direction, but I won't. I'll just probably bring it around. So we're gonna cover dropping the new motor in here. We're going to do a cam break-in on it since it's a long block. It's been a long time since I broke in a flat tappet cam. I quit using flat tappet cams years ago. The quality of parts is very difficult, especially to get good lifters, and they flatten. They like to flatten more often than not, but you can't put a roller cam in these. I haven't built a Chevy motor with a flat tappet cam in it in probably 10 years. You just don't do it anymore. So that's going to be real critical. The sniper should fire right off. We get to use the same Hyperspark distributor. None of that changes. I'm just going to drop a bass tune into it so that the thing just lights off. And then, that's the whole, it's 20 minutes of, 20 minutes of sheer terror, whether it's going to make it through or not. The cam that's going in this has got about 120, 130 pounds of spring pressure, valve spring pressure on the seat. So it's not exactly light. It's not exactly heavy, seeing as these are about 50. So there is a chance to flatten a cam, but it should be fine. With proper brake oil and everything. But that's the one thing. I asked Jeff if he was going to run it up for me. He said he doesn't do long blocks. He'd have to do a complete motor, which means I'd have to pay him and send all of my pan and all that stuff for him to do a full assembly and fire up on it. I'm no stranger to doing cam break-ins, and I'm no stranger to flattening them either. So hopefully that all goes smoothly. It should. So anyways, we'll get back with you guys when we go up to go to Jeff's. And I know a lot of people know who Jeff is that are on the Vintage 6 forum or on the Ford 6 forums. I think a lot of people know who he is. So maybe, we'll bring the camera up there and have some fun. So we'll catch you guys once we have some updates.